Good evening, glad that you are watching your channel of choice on the news tonight. Tonight, the fate of 4 IEBC commissioners who disagreed with the commission's chair Wafula Chebukati on the final tally of the presidential results now lies with Parliament.
Every 5 years after elections, we always have issues with IEBC.
Lawmakers defy a court order requiring them to stop principal secretaries vetting.
The court has barred the process of nomination for appointment of the first and to 51 principal secretaries.
A move that is likely going to set the stage for a continuation of the duel between the two arms of government under President Ruto's administration. Proposals to increase counties continue to elicit mixed reactions, with those opposed to the idea citing the poor state of the economy. Catherine Simaloi is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight, the fate of the 4 dissenting IEBC commissioners in the 2022 presidential results announcement is with the National Assembly Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, which has been given 14 days to table its findings. The report will focus on whether or not the August House should debate their removal in office following a petition filed by 4 persons to Parliament. Moige William begins our broadcast tonight.
A petition to eject from office IEBC Vice Chairperson Juliana Cherera, Commissioners Francis Wanderi, Irene Masist and Justus Nyang'aya has been presented to the National Assembly, where 4 petitioners are seeking the removal of the 4 over their conduct in the aftermath of the August general election. The 4 commissioners rejected the final presidential results announced by the IEBC chairperson, who doubles up as the national returning officer Wafula Chebukati, saying the final tally was arrived at in an opaque manner. Speaker of the National Assembly Moses Wetangula has directed the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee to look into the petition and further guide the House within 14 days.
The committee has 14 days within which to submit a report to the House as required under paragraph 4 of Standing Order 230.
The petition has already divided the House into 2, with Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja locking horns on whether the legislators should discuss the matter.
So this House will be contravening its own rules, and indeed the law generally, by entertaining a petition that is touching on issues that are actively before court.
Allow the committee to consider that petition, and I think it's just the first stage in such a process when you're dealing with constitutional commissions.
All Kenyans have given powers by the Constitution to petition this House on anything as long as they raise matters of fact, Honorable Speaker.
Members of Parliament allied to the Azimio la Umoja coalition have called on their Kenya Kwanza colleagues not to look into the matter, arguing that the country has already moved on from matters 2022 election.
I beseech this House that normally we don't resurrect emotions when the country is already moving on.
Our side of a coalition went to court. The court ruled against us. We were told we were hot air, cold air, wild goose chase, tame goose chase. And we accepted and we moved on, Mr. Speaker. So I think actually this petition is in very bad taste. It's taking the country back. And I think what we need to do is let the commissioners go on with their work.
The section of legislators, however, called for a total audit of the independent electoral body ahead of the next general polls slated for the year 2027.
We deal with commissioners, but we don't deal with the staff. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, as we look at the petitions, can we also now realign IEBC to go back to the independence that it had? And since the 3 are also coming out, so it means we shall have a clean slate.
The committee is expected to present its findings to the House within 14 days, with the report expected to guide the House on whether the petition satisfies the removal of any of the 4 commissioners. Moige William, TV 47.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki now says that police officers will hit the ground running to deal with bandits, criminals and terrorists in the country. This following a spike in criminal activities in Nairobi County. Flora Limuki has the details.
In the last few days, Nairobi has increasingly become dangerous with gangs wreaking havoc. The gangs have been terrorizing residents through robbery with violence, carjackings, assaults, and even in extreme cases, murder. The rising rate of insecurity has led to security officials folding their sleeves as all eyes lie on them to return the country to normalcy.
I want to assure the people of Nairobi, we will make Nairobi safe. In the next day or two, the government will be announcing the measures that we are taking to ensure that we review the terms, conditions of service of the National Police Service at all ranks through a public participatory process.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki says that his ministry will work tirelessly to bring the notorious gangs to book. Kindiki has also given the culprits an ultimatum to surrender their weapons, even as security officials embark on a nationwide crackdown to reduce the crime rate.
You can neutralize criminals and you don't get the arms. So we are asking those who want to surrender arms to the IG is saying just surrender and disappear. And
the Interior CS has also warned police officers from politicizing the war against crime, further reiterating that the new administration will give the police force the space to exercise their mandate.
But we will not allow any attempt to try and ask the police to perform political functions, including political functions of the governing party.
At the same time, Kindiki has refuted claims that police are on a ghost law. This even as 8 police officers from the disbanded Special Service Unit SSU remain in remand as investigations surrounding the disappearance of 2 Indians who were kidnapped in July continue.
The police are a disciplined force. They don't strike, they don't picket, and they don't go slow.
Meanwhile, Baringo County Police Commander Adamson Bungei has been named as the new Nairobi Police Chief in changes announced by Inspector General Police Japhet Kome. Flora Limuki, TV47.
Thank you, Flora Limuki, for that report. Now, as Kenyans eagerly await for the interim report from the Presidential Working Party on education reforms on the competency-based curriculum this week, one of the issues they want addressed urgently is the transition of grade 6 learners to grade 7, with many recommending that they would want grade 7 to be domiciled in primary schools. Our senior education affairs reporter Sharon Baranga reports.
So that our students can be able to...
For close to 1 month, Kenyans have had an opportunity to air their views on the competency-based curriculum to the Presidential Working Party on education reforms. One of the issues concerning CBC that has been a nightmare for many is transition of grade 6 learners to grade 7. A number of Kenyans argued that grade 6 learners were still too young to be enrolled in secondary schools. And aside from that, the infrastructure in most secondary schools cannot accommodate a double intake of grade 7 and Form 1 learners.
I'm in grade 6.
And you have said you'd like to remain in primary school for grade 7?
Yes.
Watoto bado wakichukuliwa pelekwa shule wanaweza kuwa na dharau. Vile tumesikia kuna ile inakuwa initiation. Unapata mtoto tena umempeleka anaenda tena kucheza na watu wazima pale watu walijoin shule kitambo. So hiyo inaweza kuwa bado inaleta heshima ndogo shule.
As Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, we are proposing that since the government had used some money to put up classes in secondary school and the parents are still continuing improving the infrastructure, we would pray that primary education be extended with 1 year. That is grade 7 to be domiciled in primary school. That will solve the issue of age.
Another issue that has been dominating conversations around CBC is the cost incurred by parents as well as the burden of parental involvement in their children's homework.
So you find our parents have been given a lot of backlog or workload in terms of the expense, the time, because this parent is also expected to do a lot as far as the child work is concerned at home.
Education stakeholders want teacher training on CBC to be given priority, as this will in the end determine the quality of graduates that will be churned out of the new curriculum.
Let the government train all teachers on the same and not representatives, because the moment you take 2 teachers in a staff room, they go and get trained. When they come back again, not everybody that gets trained comes and explains exactly the way things were.
Kenyans expressed hope that if the Presidential Working Party on Education reforms will consider all that has been expressed in the public hearings, then CBC will be of value to the country. The Working Party is expected to issue an interim report this week. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
Now, several people are feared dead after a building under construction in Kasarani collapsed. This comes just 8 days since a building still under construction collapsed in Tasia, Embakasi East, where at least 2 lives were lost. Let's cross over to the area and get live images.
Kwa majina naitwa Steven Ondieki Oganda. Mimi ni mkaaji wa area ya Kasarani na nafanya kazi hapa karibu Seasons, na mahali hapa ambapo nyumba imeanguka niko hapo karibu nyuma ndio nafanya kazi. Na hii nyumba imekuwa kwa muda ikijengwa na watu I think NCC walikuwa wameichora iziweze kuchengwa, lakini kawaida sisi kama Wakenya tunaendelea tu. Na watu walikuwa ndani wanaendelea kufanya kazi ya wiring, na ndipo I think mmoja alipoangalia akaona imeanza kucrack kwa pillars, na alijaribu kuwaambia lakini hawakapuziria kidogo. So ndipo hivyo ikaweza kuanguka. So I think kuna watu ndani ambao wameweza kuangukiwa. Natumai kwamba wenye wamekuja kusaidia wataweza kusaidia waweze kutoka. Yeah. Yes. Nyumba iliweza kuanguka muda wa saa 8 hivi. Saa 8. Yeah. Watu sisi walikuja asubuhi, wengine walishikwa na wakatoroka pia, wengine wakarudi wakaendelea na kazi. Yeah. Mwito wangu kwamba ambao sisi kama Wakenya tunapokatazwa kufanya kitu ni vizuri kutilia maanani janga kama ile lingeweza kutupata. Yeah. Asante.
Well, that is one of the residents of Kasarani who was speaking to TV 47. The rescue mission continues. Several people are feared dead after that building collapsed in Kasarani. This is the second building in 10 days that is collapsing. 8 days ago, there was a building still under construction which collapsed in Tasia, Embakasi East. Moving on. Tonight, the Employment and Labour Relations Court has stopped Parliament from vetting 51 principal secretaries appointed by President William Ruto until a case filed by the Law Society of Kenya is heard and determined. LSK has disputed the list for failing to factor in regional and tribal balance, as well as failing to meet provisions of the 2/3 gender principle. Despite the orders, MPs in a show of defiance went on with the vetting in 12 House committees. Our senior reporter Apollo Kamau reports.
Thank you, Chair. In what could prove to be a litmus test, putting Parliament and the judiciary on a collision course, the Employment and Labour Relations Court dealt Parliament a blow in the ongoing vetting of 51 principal secretaries after issuing a conservatory order stopping the vetting of President William Ruto's nominees until a case challenging the PS's appointment is heard on Monday next week. But in a show of defiance, MPs sitting in 12 House departmental committees went on with the vetting, saying Parliament has not been served.
The court has barred the process of nomination for appointment of the first and to 51 principal secretaries.
Where did you get that information from?
Of course.
No, I wouldn't engage. I wouldn't go that direction. It's unless it is brought to the attention of the House, I will proceed.
LSK had moved to court challenging the appointment of the PSs for failing to meet regional and tribal balance, as well as failing to meet the 2/3 gender principle. The vetting dilemma did not deter the principal secretaries, who have been listed as interested parties, from appearing before the House committees. PS nominee for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Sing'oei Korir, told the Defense and Foreign Relations Committee that he will relook at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs travel budget, while saying Kenya has not changed its economic diplomacy from the east to the west under President William Ruto.
We are not getting value for money. And as your PS, I can assure you that this is going to be our focus.
At the Trade and Industry Committee, PS nominee for Trade, Dr. Alfred Kombundo, pledged to improve Kenya's trade imbalance with East African countries and other international markets, promising to reach out to new markets in the UAE and the US, while pushing for non-tariff barriers for small traders doing business across borders.
Smaller, poorer traders face bigger problems trading across borders. And if I understand the mandate of this government correctly, is that it also wants to ensure that smaller traders are able to trade, including across borders.
PS nominee for Defense, Dr. Patrick Mariro, said the military will still remain at the Kenya Meat Commission, despite an order reverting the commission to the Ministry of Livestock, saying the military's exit will be a gradual process. 38-year-old Roslyn Jogu, PS nominee to the newly created Department of Diaspora Affairs and the youngest of the nominees so far, pledged to look into the diaspora community welfare abroad and tap into the resourceful community. Despite a court order stopping the vetting of the nominees, 12 House committees went on with the vetting as scheduled, setting the stage for another supremacy battle between the judiciary and Parliament. Apul Kamau, TV47, Parliament.
Now, President William Ruto today chaired a meeting convened just moments after the Employment and Labour Relations Court halted the vetting of Principal Secretary's nominee by Parliament following a case filed by the Law Society of Kenya, citing the nomination as lacking a true representation of the face of Kenya. The cabinet meeting also comes in the wake of rising cases of insecurity in the country, such as robbery and banditry attacks.
Page number 5.
Moving on, the proposal to increase counties has continued to raise jitters within the political class, as already 3 members of parliament have presented proposals on constitutional amendment to allow more counties created. However, a section of lawmakers insist that this is not the right time to call for such amendments because of the struggling economy. Our Parliamentary Affairs reporter Elizabeth Mutuku has the details.
The conversation to amend the 2010 Constitution to allow the creation of more counties is gaining momentum, with 2 members of Parliament presenting proposals to create the extra counties. According to Bomachoge MP Alpha Miruka, the Constitution needs to be amended to allow 1 more county, namely Gucha, which will see Kisii split into 2.
If you remember very well, Ijara, it was in the first national plan of 1967 to 1972. That is when it was identified as a district. Basically because during the NFD period, Ijara County or Ijara Sub-County or Ijara District, it was the amongst the district that said no to join Somalia. We stood firm. We said we want to be part of Kenya, and we stood firm. After that, in 2000, amongst the 4 districts that was created in northern Kenya, Ijara was part of it.
His proposal comes days after another one by Kuria East MP Kitayama Marwa, suggesting additional more 5 counties of Kuria, Teso, Mount Elgon, East Pokot and Mwingi. The bill, which has been drafted by Kitayama, enjoys the support of significant number of MPs across the political divide.
Mambo nyeti kwa watu wengi. Sisi wenyewe tumeamua kwamba bila kujitetea sisi wenyewe hakuna atakaye tuangalia. Kwa sababu ugavi wa rasilimali, ugavi wa mamlaka na mambo yote ambayo yanahusiana na ugatuzi, bila sisi kuyasukuma sisi wenyewe hakuna mtu mwingine ambaye atafanya kazi hiyo. Na kwa sababu hatutaki kuendelea kubaki omba kwenye makaunti ambaye gatuzi constitution lituweka, tunahitaji kwamba tukatafute njia tofauti ambayo inatuwezesha sisi kuwa katika katiba.
Pendekezo lolote ambalo litakuja kuhusu kuongezeka kwa kaunti, mimi naomba niliunge mkono, ila tu pia tuwe ndani katika ugavi wa counties.
However, the proposals by members have continued to elicit mixed reactions, with Public Accounts Committee Chair John Badi and Senate Majority Whip Senator Boni Halwale insisting that counties should be merged and reduced to about 10 to 15 following poor state of economy.
We are soon going to get back to the way we were creating districts if we are not careful with counties. A county must be self-sustaining. A county should be a unit that can make sense. You cannot have a county called Kuria, it is too small. You cannot have a county called Subalon, it is too small. You cannot have the so-called Gucha. Even the 47 counties we have today is a joke. We should have fewer counties, if you ask me.
7 federal states to serve a country of 10 million people. But the United States has 52 federal states to serve 380 million people. So you can see how much we do not need these too many devolved units.
Na wakazi wa Nambale wamepinga, na kama ni kuunda kaunti mpya, sisi tunaunga hilo jambo mkono. Lakini wasikuje kuguza ile mpaka ya kitambo.
If the proposal by either of the members is passed by Parliament, then a task force will be formed to look into the matter. Proposal to amend Constitution either to increase or reduce counties has been presented before in the previous parliaments. On whether the proposal by 2 members is going to see the light of the day is a matter of wait and see. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Palm Beach, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, Amani National Congress Party has announced that it will be putting in place rapid and steady plans to revamp the party post the 2022 general election and take it to the next level under the new leadership of the party. The incoming ANC party leader, Lamu Governor Issa Timami, has reiterated that the future of ANC party remains bright, saying statements suggesting that ANC party might fold mere propaganda and speculations that have no basis. Timami is taking the mantle of the ANC party leadership following the exit of immediate party leader Musalia Mudavadi, who was appointed as the Prime Cabinet Secretary in President William Ruto's government.
The Secretariat who are here.
Oh, good morning. Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Of the elections, this what we found out answers even in the FCC is finances. We do not. We need to appoint a new clerk to the.
If we want to be successful, we have to start planning, and that planning has to start now, not tomorrow, but now. I believe the energy, the faith, the devotion which we will bring as the leadership of ANC to this endeavor will light our party and all those who serve it. Therefore, I'm also of the view that the future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted, it belongs to the brave. And I believe all of us here are brave.
That the political space and the political market will be more friendly and fertile for ANC to thrive. Because now we have one government, our immediate former party leader is the Prime Cabinet Secretary, so we can only hope that things will become bigger and better.
Tumekuwa katika uchaguzi ambao tulilumbana na serikali ambayo ilikuwa haitaki Mheshimiwa Musalia na Mheshimiwa Wetangula na hata wewe mema. Nakumbuka na ninaelewa na ninajua ulipitia mengi kule Lamu kama vile viongozi wengine walipitia ndani ya Amani National Congress. Kwa hivyo kwa wale walipoteza ndani ya Amani National Congress, tunawapa moyo, ni kwamba mliwekewa kifua kikubwa, lakini ninaamini majaliwa Mwenyezi Mungu siku za usoni tutafaulu na tutafanya vyema.
Now, former President Uhuru Kenyatta has called on the East African countries to restore peace and ensure that they take advantage of the community in ensuring free movement of goods and businesses. The former president, who is now in Congo for peace talks, was joined by EAC Secretary General and other high officials. Paul Kirobi reports.
Kenya, as part of the East African community, 3 days ago sent KDF troops to the eastern part of Congo to restore peace in a country at war with the rebels. Monday, former President Uhuru Kenyatta completed talks with key government officials in DRC. Kenyatta engaged with the civil society structures of South Kivu and North Kivu, DRC Prime Minister Jean-Michel Sama Lukonde, President of the National Assembly Christopher Mbosen Kodia, and the President of the Senate Modese Bahati Likwebo, the key message being the need to restore peace.
Is that all groups who currently bear arms should lay those arms down and choose the path of peace through dialogue, because there is nothing that can be gained through the barrel of a gun. The people want peace.
The president urged the elected leaders to be at the epicenter of peace restoration to ensure peace is restored.
To foreign-based groups, it is basically saying that the DRC is no longer the battleground for problems that are not from this country.
Kenya is preparing to hold a peace meeting in November 21st to hold crucial talks aimed at diffusing the Eastern DRC crisis. The meetings are being held against the backdrop of an intense war between the M23 rebels and the armed forces of the Democratic Republic of Congo in North Kivu. The Kenya Defense Forces troops were deployed to fight M23 rebels in the DRC in a joint regional operation. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Now, ahead of the National Cancer Summit scheduled for February 2023, the Ministry of Health, the National Cancer Institute and other stakeholders have today held a curtain raiser ahead of the event, with the high cost of cancer care and treatment taking center stage. And as Elizabeth Atieno now reports, the government through the National Cancer Institute and the Ministry of Health now says that it has made remarkable progress in the fight against cancer over the last 5 years.
47,000 people in Kenya are diagnosed with cancer every year, with 27,000 losing their lives in the same period. And every single day when the sun rises and sets, 73 lives are lost as a result of different types of cancer, ranging from breast, prostate, cervical, and cancer of the esophagus.
I just lost my dad 2011. 2013, my brother is brought to Kenyatta National Hospital, being told that he has cancer stage 1 of the anal. And we didn't know about that because I'm not a medical person. So you're there, taking care of him. He was there waiting for...
A situation which distraught cancer survivors and caregivers say would be avoided if only the patients would have access to timely and affordable treatment.
Behind each life is suffering. Behind each life is socioeconomic challenges, is mental health challenges to the family, it is financial bankruptcy. So behind each of these lives is a whole set of things behind. And that's why our counterpart from the Council of Governors is saying this is a multi-sectoral issue. So for us, one of the biggest things that concerns us is 2 out of every patient who are diagnosed die in the year of diagnosis. This is because majority of them are diagnosed at a late stage.
The high cost of cancer treatment is not only a burden to the patients but also to the government through the National Health Insurance Fund, which spends over 3.8 billion Kenya shillings for cancer treatment in every financial year.
Even with those benefits, when you look on average how much we pay for a cancer patient, it's close to about 1.5, 1.6 million when you look at those packages.
And although the National Health Insurance Fund has eased some of the financial burden incurred by cancer patients, caregivers say they are forced to shift with their patients from one hospital to another to get the needed treatment, especially in outpatient care.
This issue of telling people after 3 months you have to keep on changing hospital. Most of the time I'm in Nairobi, I'm in Mombasa, I'm in Kisumu, I'm running all over this country. If, for example, I fall sick in Nairobi and my hospital is in Kisumu, I've written there that it's Kisumu which is taking care of me. How am I supposed to be treated?
You only have to choose a facility for outpatient care. For inpatient care, you can be admitted to any of the hospitals, any of the over 8,000 hospitals we have on our panel. So you realize, even maybe as I talk, there's a lot of information that has not percolated to the last mile.
NHIF has reiterated that it will cater for all cancer patients, especially those who lack the financial muscle. This coming amidst numerous complaints that the National Social Insurance, designed to give universal care, only prioritizes civil servants in its benefits package for cancer treatment.
The main purpose, as we talk about, UHC, the main purpose is to be there especially for those who would not have been able to afford. And as you know, the definition of UHC, care that you need without suffering, financial hardship. So that is the purpose. All those people, 47,000 unique individuals last year that NHIF helped. And we're not talking about the enhanced schemes because those have been paid for by their employer. Ordinarily would not have been able to afford that.
And as Kenya prepares to host the National Cancer Summit slated for February next year, which seeks to take stock of Kenya's cancer response over the last 10 years, the government and key stakeholders have acknowledged the remarkable progress made in cancer treatment and prevention in Kenya over the last 5 years, despite existing challenges like the high cost of treatment and late diagnosis.
We have continue to strengthen our primary healthcare services to offer affordable cancer screening and early detection services that are critical to early cancer diagnosis.
We want to ensure there is thought leadership, policy leadership, research leadership, and data leadership and regulatory leadership in the cancer environment in this country.
The summit will also provide an opportunity for respective stakeholders to showcase technologies and best practices in cancer response and come up with a framework for cancer prevention and control in Kenya. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Moving on, the British Army Training Unit in Kenya partook during a demonstration to the media on how they conduct their training in partnership with the Kenya Defence Forces have defended the use of white phosphorus during its military training drills at Loldaiga Conservancy. The army says that it uses that white phosphorus under strict safety precautions. Khaemba Emmanuel with more.
After more than a year of outcry and complaints from the residents near Loldaiga Reserve in Laikipia County over the use of white phosphorus as a weapon during British Army unit exercise drills in the country, the unit has finally defended itself. Last year, more than 12,000 acres in the area were destroyed by fire sparked during the military training exercise, but the unit has since assured the residents over their safety in the use of chemicals.
And white phosphorus is not something that we are intending to use currently.
According to the media liaison officer Adrian Well, the soldiers only train with it when the condition allows, especially during dry and windy periods.
So we do train with it at Archer's Post when conditions allow.
In terms of its environmental impact, the Well says it's environmental friendly.
In terms of its environmental impact, it's really no different to that of other munitions that we use there. And white phosphorus is used by more or less every army in the world for those roles, and it doesn't create an environmental hazard.
The sentiments were echoed by Major Felix Okoyo, who says KDF have gained a lot of experience through the partnership since Batok has participated in many great missions across the world, and KDF has a great experience in Somali mission.
We do joint training frequently, and from the experience we gather a lot, because the British Army is experienced, seasoned, and they have conducted a lot of operations, as you know, in Afghanistan, Iraq. And also KDF has conducted a lot of operations, especially in Somalia.
About 3,000 British soldiers visit Kenya every year for training, with exercise taking place in the Loldaiga Conservancy in Laikipia County and Archer's Post in Samburu County. Khaemba Emmanuel, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, a Form 3 student in Baringo South continues to defy the odds of poverty and hopelessness by earning a living and changing the lives of his parents and those around him who have long lived in poverty. Through his melodic voice, he has continued to be a darling of many. Collins Lusweti with that story.
Elias Kachiki, a 16-year-old boy from Sandai area, Baringo South, an area that has been affected by deadly banditry attacks and cases of cattle rustling that have left many families in abject poverty, with many children in the area unable to afford quality education, is going beyond the norm. Elias was no exception to conditions surrounding him, and when he was required to start his secondary education, his parents had no single coin to take him to school.
You know, when we enrolled him in Form 1, even the first day he reported, he did not pay full fees. And we realized that the family background is humble. They are not able to pay fees.
However, after joining secondary school through the help of well-wishers, his great talent in music was discovered immediately after he composed and recorded songs in his mother language, an act that elevated him to great fame. Elias made lemonade with lemons that life threw at him by creating a successful social media presence. He started a YouTube account, attracting 1.2 million subscribers. Teachers at Patkawanin Secondary School were impressed with his amazing talent, and together with other stakeholders, they chose to fully fund his secondary education.
We, as a school, we sat and agreed to assist this boy because we know with his talent, it can assist him even after finishing Form 4.
The Form 3 student has also attracted interest from various companies advertising different products through him, earning him money that has enabled him to be of great assistance to his parents who had been locked in poverty. Through the earnings, he's also paying school fees for his siblings.
Kwangu imenisaidia kwanza si hata masomo ila
imenisaidia mimi mwenyewe, imenitoa kwa mahali nilikuwa mpaka mahali nipo sasa. Imenisaidia mimi mwenyewe pia na masomo. Kama si hiyo uimbaji yangu singetambulika kwa shule hadi nipewe free education.
Lina Kibon, the mother, says she found it hard to allow her son to venture into music, fearing for his school performance, but she changed her mind after realizing the gifted boy was turning out to be a blessing in the family and community. Father Joseph Solit says life has improved tremendously, with life getting better.
Kio nimesaidia mimi, kwa maana hata yeye nimejaribu yeye kuimba alafu nimesaidia. Kwa hivyo hakuna kitu na kusomesa sana. Sasa nimefurahi kwa maana nimeenda shule.
The young boy is now determined to ensure the fame does not distract his education, promising to remain focused in education as he prepares for national examinations next year. Teachers in school have also been working hard to ensure he remains committed to studies. They, however, want parents to fully support their children's talents, saying the new curriculum provides a framework to nurture talents.
Nikiwa shule na focus na masomo, nikienda nyumbani na focus na both, na focus na masomo na manyimbo.
When they realize that their kids have talent, let them support 100%. Let them not look only at education.
Collins Lusweti, TV 47.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Chachisha mechi.
How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Credit facilities and market is a key priority of the Kenya Kwanza administration. This is according to Rift Valley Regional Commissioner Mr. Maalim Mohamed, who says the national government is putting up efforts to address the challenges faced by small businesses. Chichi Josephine with that story.
Speaking in Nakuru during the launch of public participation for National Treasury's proposed Hustlers Fund, Maalim underscored the importance of micro-businesses to the country's economic development and job creation as stated in the Vision 2030.
Majority of Kenyan citizens work in the informal economy encompassing micro, small and medium enterprises, that is, those are SMEs, with limited access to credit leading to relatively low adoption of innovative technologies and the management practices that account for their diverse needs.
Regional Commissioner noted that through the Hustler Fund, the national government was creating greater access to finance that will improve the survival of micro businesses and help them move up their value chain.
Tujipange kwa sababu ni teknolojia, hakuna ile bureaucracy mingi ambayo huwa mnapitia. Ukiwa na simu yako, basi utapata ujumbe na unafanya application yako. You can either do it individually, na nasikia hiyo ndio itakuwa inaanza, alafu baadaye tutaenda kwa ile chama na mambo mengine.
In Meru County, a task force to review the Hustler Fund process has taken views from the stakeholders with the intention of improving the fund's plan.
MSMEs have been negatively impacted by COVID-19 pandemic, out of which approximately 25% of them were severely affected and therefore require interventions to enable them build back their production and operations. This is a revolving fund. In my own interpretation, I can call it a merry-go-round. Upatie mwingine, ukipatiwa na upatie mwingine with a minimal interest.
Small business holders say the promise of 50 billion shillings every year to jack up small businesses should be improved, while urging for the removal of interest charges on people with disabilities.
He promised to create a hustler fund that he will be putting 50 billion every year to build the fund. So I am surprised again that this has gone down to 50 billion as a maximum.
In Kisumu County, over 400 delegates from Kisumu, Busia, Vihiga, Bungoma and Kakamega counties gave their views, with the acting Busia County Commissioner Kipchumba Ruto saying the delegates have raised concerns about how the hustler fund should be protected and ensure it reaches the targeted people.
Na hii asina watu wamefurahia kwa sababu itakuja kusaidisha wale ambao wako chini kabisa kimaendeleo ndio wapate kujimudu kimaisha.
Titi Josephine, TV 47.
Elsewhere, Microsoft founder and renowned American businessman Bill Gates has urged nurses and other medical practitioners to do their duties passionately in order to save more lives. Accompanied by a delegation from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Bill Gates visited a mother and child hospital in Watertown, where they assessed the delivery of healthcare during the pandemic using digitized systems to address ongoing threats like HIV and TB. Gates also visited farmers who have adopted digital ways of farming in Malivuni and held talks with university students on how to adopt and utilize technology to ensure food security in the country.
We want to see whether we can replicate what is happening here in other countries. They are looking at mass production so that then they can help the countries as a whole. So this is just a benchmarking visit.
One of our biggest challenges is herbicides and dealing with the fruit fly, and we are looking into a solution of organic farming, whereby the fruit fly can be controlled without herbicides. That is what is marketing and is being looked for largely in the world.
Inaweza nikafanya painting yake na nije nimpe kama present. So nilijua tu ataichukua na nilikuwa na ngoje hiyo, yani kuna akichukua vile atasikia akiona. So nilikuwa na anticipate hiyo sana.
Now, American non-profit organization that coordinates the domain name system DNS, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, has unveiled Africa's first root servers cluster in Nairobi. During the unveiling, ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo and their Communication Authority of Kenya boss Ezra Chiloba attended the event and urged Kenyans to fully utilize the facility. The setup now brings the total number of global clusters to 6, comprising 2 in North America as well as 2 in Europe and Asia. In the next 2 years, it targets to install 3 additional Africa's first root server clusters.
The Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, on the basis of which our development agenda is pegged, includes a very specific commitment on establishing a digital superhighway in Kenya and embracing the creative economy. From the very onset, I wish to thank ICANN for choosing Kenya as the host of this critical component of the core internet infrastructure.
But it also put an extra effort on the need of infrastructure in this country or in this region. And that's why we're so happy that together with our partners here to take a little bit more of that technology coming into Africa and especially here in Kenya.
Now, LG Electronics has partnered with Mama Fua Laundromat and Hotpoint to deliver digital laundry services in the country. The company launched a new equipment that is purpose-built for laundromats, allowing owners and users to manage their laundry productivity remotely with the LG Remote app. The partnership that seeks to empower the informal Mama Fua market and enable fast growth of Kenya's laundry industry saw the opening of the Langata branch at the Freedom Height Mall today.
our first question was, why are there no laundromats in Kenya? We did a research together with LG, and we found that the main issue was that the commercial laundry equipment in Kenya was expensive, and it wasn't purpose-built for laundromats. So first, you'll notice the units are stackable. The dryer goes on top of the washer. By that, we can save a lot of space. If I couldn't do that, I would have to put them side by side. I would need double the space. Secondly, for example, the cycles have been optimized. So, you can do a drying and washing cycle in 45 to 50 minutes.
Mamafua Laundromatic is this is a brand that whereby the customers do not have to come to our branch. We go to the customers. We can be able to go to your offices. We can come to your offices. We can come to your homes, collect garments and deliver them back cleaned and folded at no extra charge to you. These machines are Wi-Fi enabled, whereby you can be able to track the cleaning process. Once a customer books the garments and we've started cleaning them, you can be able to track the process. You know that if, for instance, we've promised within 2 hours, you can be able to know at what point the garment, at what point in the cleaning process the garment is.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians.
Purely Kenyan. Buy now on Jumia or Amazon.
How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
that is a test of.
How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
FKF Premier League season. The Football Kenya Federation has intensified its preparations for the league as it held a 3-day mandatory physical endurance test for 81 football referees in the country at the Kasarani Annex Stadium earlier today. The match officials, including FIFA FKF referee Peter Kamau, were taken through endurance and agility drills that will assess their physical ability as well as medical tests that vouch for their fitness to officiate league matches. Speaking during the test, acting FKF referees manager Stephen Odor pointed out how the one-year football hiatus in the country could cause the referees to have low match fitness.
We have already started with the referees women, and the ongoing now is the assistant referees. They are doing the fitness test, as we call change of direction test. Then they go to the RSA, repeated sprint ability, the 30 meters, and next they'll do the interval last test. Being that we have taken so long before they do any exercises, we felt it was quite good for us to test them first before we start the season.
Referee, uzuri Kenya watu wanapenda mpira. Kwa hivyo hata huko vijijini bado mpira yaendelea. So kama vile wachezaji wetu wamekuwa kicheza huko vijijini, hata sisi tumekuwa tukichezesha. Wengine wetu tukicheza mipira ile ya wazee. Kwa hivyo naweza sema hata kama wale wengine wasichana wamemaliza kukimbia na wamepita wote. So physically siwezi sema tumekuwa affected. Maybe match fitness it got affected, but physically we are doing.
And on the same breath, 41 match commissioners and assessors were earlier today taken through a football integrity workshop by Head Football Kenya Federation Integrity Officer Mike Kamure. The workshop entailed the commissioners and assessors being sensitized on the effects of the worldwide vice of match fixing and how to help curb it and preserve football's integrity. FIFA, in conjunction with FKF, has put up identification and reporting mechanisms for match fixing, such as the FIFA portal, the FKF Integrity Portal, and the FKF Integrity Hotline number. At the same time, Sofapaka FC was also taken through integrity classes, summing up the number of FKF Premier League clubs with integrity education to 8.
It is important because it will assist us ensure that our matches are fair, and there's no manipulation of results, and any team can win. That will bring integrity in the whole process and ensure that every team starts an equal chance of winning a match and actually even winning a league, so that winners are not predetermined. It is important that match commissioners understand that they have a role to play in that area.
Out of this, we feel that at the end of the day, fair team, the best team on the pitch will win without the results being influenced by anyone, maybe the players, the referees, or the match assessors. So we expect to have a positive outcome out of these workshops, whereby everyone now is aware of the role they're supposed to play when it comes to the issues around match fixing.
Meanwhile, AFC Leopards chairperson Dan Shikanda has called on the Football Kenya Federation FKF to consider aligning its 2022-2023 FKF Premier League season fixtures with the World Football Governing Body FIFA's calendar so as to enable most clubs in the league to honor international fixtures. Shikanda also urged sponsors and football stakeholders to come on board and sponsor the league, while at the same time called on football fans in the country to come out in large numbers and support their favorite clubs upon the league's resumption.
With the FIFA calendar, we played 2 leagues within 1 year. So I think we still have a lot of time in our hands. If we can utilize the weekends, maybe instead of playing 1 match, you play 2 matches. For example, if I go to Western, why should I go and play 1 match and come back? If we can play 2 matches and then come back, then I think we will gain a lot of ground and bite into the fixture faster, and then we finish the league on time so that our champions can actually go and represent the country. The names can be taken to represent the country in Africa. With the federation back and with the seriousness that we are seeing the CS taking all this, I think it will be a thing of the past not to honor your match, first and foremost. And second, we are appealing to sponsors, and the CS has been very emphatic on that we would want to attract as many sponsors as possible to the game so that the game can pay. Without the game paying, without the game being facilitated, I think it will be difficult for teams not to give walkovers. But with everything back in full force, I think it will be a good scenario for Kenyan football. And we are requesting our fans, members, stakeholders, kindly to come to the stadiums. And
Meanwhile, athletics stakeholders in the country, in partnership with human rights defenders and a non-governmental organization known as Rainbow Magnolia Fountains of Life, has launched a 10-kilometer run that aims at sensitizing the society on the negative implications of female genital mutilation and supporting the victims. The run is expected to take shape on 27th November this year at the Nairobi Arboretum and will feature 3 categories, including the 10-kilometer run, the 5-kilometer run, and the family fun walk. The event, which will be held annually in the month of September from various counties in the country, has so far attracted over 5,000 participants, including elite athletes.
Main work is to rescue the girl child from FGM, early forced marriages, and other domestic violence. The initiative is good, so people are in it, they are supporting us, and yeah, it's going to be good and fun. This year in February, we did one race in Kimana, Loitoktok sub-county, Kajiado County, and it was 15-kilometer road race. A Rainbow of Magnolia Fountains of Life, we take girls not only from the Maasai community, it being situated in the Maasai community, but at the moment we have girls from 16 tribes. So we are planning to host this event across the country, God willing.
It's something that's near and dear to many people's hearts, and I think all that's needed is the exposure to allow people to understand what the consequences are of that these young girls are having to go through. And it's one of the major things that we try to facilitate and support with the Rainbow of Magnolia, and will really be popularized in terms of recognition of the issues through our run. And so we're very pleased to have the opportunity. If you are there and you're running, you should feel tremendous energy throughout that race, just because you are actually giving from your own heart to the cause that is so important here.
And that is all we had prepared for you in the world of sports. Now you're up to speed with the latest sports stories taking shape locally as well as internationally. My name is Dennis Otieno. Now I take it back to Bakar Abdullahi.
Well, Dennis, perhaps before I leave the studio and you continue with Soccer Diaries, which comes every Tuesday from 10 p.m. Last night you were on the defensive sides of Manchester United. You are retracting your sentiments, are you?
Yeah, I am retracting my sentiments regarding Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, after watching just snippets of the interview between Cristiano Ronaldo and Piers Morgan, I got to understand exactly where Cristiano Ronaldo is coming from, and I got to understand that he means well for the club. And it is actually the club that has a lot of problems when he talks about the ownership at the club. And these are definitely topics that we'll be talking about extensively in the Soccer Diaries show, which is coming in a few minutes from now. But to be quite precise, I'm retracting my statements regarding Cristiano Ronaldo that I put across in last night's bulletin.
And quite perfectly painting the turmoil in the Manchester side, the red side of Manchester.
Yeah, it is a club that is in deep crisis, and yes, there is kind of registering good results. They're 5th on the English Premier League table, but if they could sort out their dressing room issues and their management issues, then it is a club that could actually be contending for the quadruple, the Champions League, Carabao Cup, and all these other trophies and silverware that we have in European football.
Thank you, Dennis Otieno. Dennis Otieno is our sports reporter and anchor. Needless to add, an ardent Manchester United fan. That